Let me ask you a question. How much of your life has been spent chasing love, approval, opportunity, recognition, money, relationships, potential, people? And what if I told you some of the greatest breakthroughs in life begin the moment you stop chasing? Welcome back. I am Law, author of Enunciate Your Needs, and tonight's episode wasn't planned. At least not by me. I didn't schedule this one. But life has a funny way of delivering exactly the lesson you need when you need it. And here we are. The last several days have forced me to reflect, not react, reflect. There's a difference. Because reaction comes from emotion. Reflection comes from observation. And there's the lesson. Let's continue. One thing I've been observing lately is how many people struggle with the word no. Not hearing it, not saying it, not respecting it. Let's break the fourth wall. Everybody loves boundaries until the boundary affects them. Everybody post healing post, self-respect quotes, growth quotes, until somebody tells them no. And suddenly, you're the villain. And that's something I've learned. A boundary reveals more than agreement ever will. Because when you say yes, most people are comfortable, right? When you say no, you discover who was benefiting from your lack of one. And this applies to relationships too. Sometimes people leave. Sometimes they threaten to leave. Sometimes they make a habit of leaving, returning, leaving, returning, leaving, returning. At some point, the pattern becomes the message. And as I talk to you, I talk to me. And in this observation, I have been also able to see older versions of myself when I used to leave and return, leave and return. And from this new perspective, this new view, I am very grateful for it all. For now I'm able to understand more, including how my behavior at times could have and did affect those that I was in a relationship with. The pattern becomes the message. When somebody repeatedly shows you that leaving is their preferred form of communication, believe them, not angrily, not bitterly, not emotionally. Observe. This is where erotic intelligence enters, because attraction isn't just about desire, it's about discernment. Like, can you tell the difference between chemistry and compatibility, attention and commitment, potential and reality? Some people don't want a relationship. They want unlimited access to your energy, your attention, patience, your forgiveness, without accountability. And something else I've noticed, sometimes the moment you finally enforce a boundary, the narrative changes. Now, somehow, the person who crossed the boundary becomes the victim, and the person who enforced it becomes the problem. But here's what maturity taught me. You don't have to defend every boundary. And some explanations are invitations to arguments. Some silence is the answer. And this isn't just romantic. Some friendships expire too. Let's talk about it. Sip on this. Have you ever gotten off the phone with somebody and felt exhausted? Not because life happened, because every interaction feels like an emotional withdrawal. Every conversation, complaints, drama, crisis, negativity, and somehow you leave smaller than you arrived. If every conversation leaves you depleted, is that relationship nourishing you? Or have you become somebody's emotional storage unit? I know that's a hard question. Now, before we blame everybody else, we also have to be honest with ourselves. Did they dump on you, or did you volunteer? Because this is exactly what I wrote about. Can you enunciate your needs? Can you say, I don't have the capacity for this conversation today? Or, I need space. I need reciprocity. I need honesty. I need peace. Or, let's say you're the one that needs to release, share. Can you ask the person, do you have the capacity to hear me release something that is heavy for me? I recently had a peer give me this advice because I did dump on him without asking. Thank you. Because he was right. Just because I might have received and volunteered to receive his expression, that didn't mean that, okay, now my turn, let me share with you. I still have to ask, right? And fellas, a lot of us don't communicate needs. We tolerate, we suppress, we endure, we hope people notice. Then we become resentful when they don't. I know. The older I get, the more I realize that peace has requirements. Not everybody gets unlimited access to you. Not because you're better, because you're responsible. Responsible. Presence requires protection. You cannot build purpose, vision, discipline, healing while constantly leaking energy. Doesn't work. And one of the hardest lessons that I've learned is that not everything is meant to continue. I remember a brother said, everything has an expiration date. And I accepted that saying partially. But again, as life lives, I've come to really understand that not everything is meant to continue. Some people truly are seasonal. Some friendships are seasonal. Some versions of yourself are seasonal. So if you're changing as the seasons change, you may outphase in someone else's world. There have been moments in my life where I said, I will never be back here again. And then somehow life brought me right back to the lesson. Not because I failed. And that's where I had to give myself grace. And that's where, in being present, I was able to accept. Instead of, why am I repeating this cycle again? Why am I going through this again? I had to accept the lesson, which was, I hadn't fully learned it yet. Not fully. So of course, I had to have a repeat. Maybe in a different form, a different person, a different setting, to really show me what I was missing and what I needed to learn. Life repeats the lesson until wisdom replaces the pattern. I'm going to say that again. Life repeats the lesson until wisdom replaces the pattern. And here's what I've stopped doing: chasing. Not because I don't care, because I finally do care. I've learned love doesn't require pursuit forever. Friendship doesn't require pursuit forever. Purpose doesn't require pursuit forever. At some point, what is for you begins moving towards you. If I gotta convince you every day to love me, respect me, value me, choose me, good. I'm applying for a job I already have. What is meant for you doesn't require endless convincing. And that goes both ways. It requires honesty, alignment, effort from both sides. So tonight, I'm not angry. I'm grateful because observation is a gift. Patterns are teachers. Boundaries are teachers. Disappointment is a teacher. Loss is a teacher. Truth is a teacher. CTA: if something keeps leaving, stop chasing it. If something keeps draining you, evaluate it. If something keeps crossing your boundaries, address it. If something keeps demanding access while ignoring accountability, observe it. Not everything that leaves is a loss. Sometimes it's room for peace, growth, clarity, purpose, alignment. The most powerful word I learned this week wasn't yes, it was no.
Love shouldn't feel like maintenance. Peace shouldn't need patching. I felt it before I named it. That quiet drain in my chest. Every time I showed up steady, something slipped, something left. I kept checking the foundation, kept asking what I missed. Turns out the structure was sound. There was just a crack I didn't create. I don't confuse patience with repair, or devotion with delay. Peace doesn't disappear on its own. Someone lets it leak away. There's a peace leak somewhere, and it isn't me. Love shouldn't cause my nervous system or borrow from my sleep. If calm keeps evaporating every time we try, then one of us is bleeding serenity. And tonight I won't deny, I normalized tension too long. Called it passion, called it growth. But peace doesn't ask for endurance, it asks for truth exposed. I shouldn't have to brace myself just to enter the room. Love that requires armor already chose its doom. I'm not walking away angry, I'm walking away intact. There's a peace like somewhere, and I finally see I won't keep mopping the floor for a spill that isn't me. Peace is sacred, and I'm done pretending otherwise.